So here is a strange story. It's the tale of the missing congressman. But don't worry, he is fine. He's not working, but he's fine. He's busy doing other things besides working or running his re-election campaign, but we will get to that later. The congressman in question is Republican Tom Kean Jr. from New Jersey. He's been quote-unquote missing from Washington for 75 days as of me recording this, meaning he has missed plenty of key votes in Congress. And this isn't great for Republicans considering how narrow their majority in the House is right now. The explanation that has since come out about all of this is simply that he has been dealing with some health issues. And if you're just a celebrity or a private citizen, then yes, absolutely keep those details about your life and your body private. You don't owe the public any explanation as to why you've been missing from work for 2.5 months. Unfortunately, if you are a publicly elected official who does have an obligation to represent their constituents in Congress, then dealing with these matters completely privately, leaving your constituents without representation in government, and doing nothing to find some sort of interim solution is actually unacceptable. And as a Democrat, I'm not going to pretend that I'm not happy about one less Republican voting in Congress, but as an American, I don't like the injustice of my countrymen in New Jersey paying taxes without getting their due representation. That is not how the system is supposed to work. However, with that said, perhaps the people of this district in New Jersey aren't too upset about their congressman missing all of these votes, where he would undoubtedly have been voting with the Republican bloc. Democrats have their eyes on Kean's district leading up to the midterms because that district was flippable even before Kean went MIA. In fact, it's one of the most competitive swing districts in the entire country, especially considering that in 2024, Trump took the district by just 1 point. And we'll get to his re-election campaign soon, but it's not just that he's been missing from Congress, he hasn't been home either. Neighbors say that his home has appeared empty for weeks. His wife Rhonda has also largely been absent aside from one brief appearance. Residents said they have not seen her walking the family dog and could not recall when her car was last in the driveway. When approached by a Not Us reporter about her husband's status, she declined to comment, responding only with no comment before quickly returning inside with a friend. Even his father, the former New Jersey Governor Tom Kean Sr., made a comment about his son's whereabouts in an interview with CNN last week. He said he's hopefully coming back soon and he's under the care of a doctor. They all agree he's going to be fine. He's under a doctor's care. It took a real illness to knock him out. This won't linger. It's not some kind of disease that's going to incapacitate him in the future. The consensus is that he will be 100% okay. Again, no one is saying you can't get sick, and I'm certainly not going to advocate for not getting the medical care that you need when you need it. But if you are a congressperson, you need to at least communicate that with your constituents and come up with some sort of contingency plan for the time you are receiving treatment.
We sincerely wish Representative Tom Kean Jr. the very best of health and the very best of luck with whatever the situation is that he's grappling with. But we also want to say very directly that we know that Representative Tom Kean Jr. has really good health care and really good health insurance, and we wish we could say the same for his constituents here in New Jersey's 7th District. We wish the kind of health insurance, health care that Tom Kean Jr. has, in fact, even better than anybody has in America, for everybody in this district. And in order to get there, I'm afraid we're going to have to hold everybody accountable, including Representative Tom Kean Jr., for their votes on things like the big, ugly bill, which has ended up tearing health insurance away from millions and millions of Americans.
Even House Speaker Johnson has only heard from Kean once since he disappeared from Congress. He hasn't voted since early March, and he has missed 88 House roll call votes. Still, while Kean hasn't been working, his staff has not taken any time off. His social media accounts remain up and running, and his campaign newsletters have been going out on schedule, apparently celebrating all of the great things he's doing in Congress, which is kind of weird. And one House staffer also thinks that the newsletters are weird, posting this to X this week. Tom Kean's office still sending out constituent newsletters like the guy hasn't vanished off the face of the earth. The newsletters go out weekly, and they are said to provide people with, quote, updates on my work for you in Congress. Congress. It even features pictures of him out in the field doing stuff, doing the work, but they cannot have been recent photos. But if Kean is too sick to do the job that he is paid taxpayer dollars to do, he still somehow has the time and the energy to enrich himself in other ways. He's still trading stocks. Not Us reported that financial disclosures filed with Congress and digitally signed on April 13th showed he bought and sold shares in 8 companies between mid and late March, with the transactions totaling an estimated value between $50,008 and $190,000. And just a reminder that he has not been seen in Congress since early March, so all of this happened while he was on a medical hiatus or wherever he was. But last month, Kean did make a brief statement about his current status as a congressman, but all he said was that he had a personal medical issue and that his doctor said he will be fine and back to work soon. And back to work he is, sort of. In addition to managing his stock portfolio, Kean has begun campaigning from somewhere. In the aforementioned newsletter, Kean has been appearing busy, making statements but not appearances. For example, he announced the winners of the 2026 Congressional Art Competition. The theme was celebrating America's 250th birthday. He also announced an essay contest. The theme was, again, celebrating America's 250th birthday. And it feels sort of like that movie Drop Dead Gorgeous, where the themes for these small town beauty pageants every year was just some version of God bless America. I think this is really going to put to the test the old standard that incumbents just get reelected, even if they're bad at their job, maybe even if they don't do their job at all. For a congressman to disappear, shirk his duties, and not put anyone in his place, even temporarily, is really unacceptable. He is drawing some comparison to John Fetterman, of all people, but Fetterman at least spoke to the people about what he was dealing with, and even Fetterman did not just drop off the face of the planet, for better or for worse. And Republicans are trying desperately to win these midterms right now by whatever means necessary, even involving the entire country in a mid-decade redistricting bonanza. And I really cannot overstate how wrong all of this is. I know we're used to hearing about it now, but this is entirely unprecedented and unjustified. We already accepted that it is what is happening. And by we, I mean the Democrats in Congress and positions of power across the country. But we really shouldn't allow practices like this to continue past the Trump era. It never should have been allowed in the first place, but what can we expect from this administration with this Congress and this Supreme Court? There does seem to be evidence, however, that Republicans who consider themselves to be more moderate or just less Trumpy are distancing themselves from the administration and this term. But until Republican leaders are able to speak out against Trump without immediately getting voted out of office, their distance doesn't do a whole lot. That said, Trump's endorsed candidates are not performing as well as they used to across the country anymore, and it did take tens of millions of dollars to unseat Thomas Massie, which is actually a win considering those campaigns rarely ever cross the $1 million mark. All right, so that's kind of a good note to end on, so I will end there. That's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.